certain extreme situations, the law is inadequate. In order to shame its inadequacy, it is necessary to act outside the law, to pursue natural justice. This is not vengeance. Revenge is not a valid motive, it's an emotional response. No, not vengeance. Punishment.
Tonight we have a chance to say, yeah, you're right. We're too extreme, we're too wild, we're too out of control, we're too full of our own shit. Or we have a chance to say, hey, fuck you, you're wrong. Fuck you, we're right. Because you have all made it to the dance. Because believe me, this is the dance. Start the show.
Oh, you guys are going to hate me. It's going to be one of those nights. I'm sorry in advance. I apologize. We've got some good news that we can talk about here to start the show, and then I've got some really great news that I can't. I'm sorry. Here's the deal. I know people are like, if you can't talk about it, why do you do that then? That's fucking stupid. And normally I would say I agree with you. It's stupid for me to even bring up something I can't tell you. But in my defense, it's all I can think about right now. I did talk to a couple people before the show, and I said, should I even do a show tonight? Because I'm so happy. I'm so relieved. I'm so excited. And I have to keep I mean, I don't even have to keep my fucking mouth shut, but I should keep my fucking mouth shut. But at the other time, on the other hand, it's all I want to talk about to people in my private life. It's all I want to think about at the moment. It's all I want to, call about, whatever. So just know that I'm quite distracted tonight. Know that I'm focusing as best as I can. Know that I'm trying to put... I know this is the smaller show, so it's like, Aaron, just fucking calm down. But the last 3.5 to 4 hours of my life have made me... And look, man, I've been pretty happy for a pretty long time. But the last few hours of my life have been about the most fucking ecstatic I've been in recent memory. And I gotta keep it, I gotta keep it chill. I gotta, on one hand, it's all I can think about. On the other hand, I have to do a show. On the other hand, those two things can't cross. And so I have my head, my whole head that's just sitting here so happy, so excited. I can't wait, and I hope it's very, very soon that I can share it with you so I can unburden myself from having this knowledge. And I will say to the Rumble chat, your guys' responses are very funny, and they're helping a little bit. I don't think I've got a good poker face. I'm not sitting here thinking I'm doing a very good job of hiding it, but just a little bit longer, and I just got an email and a phone conversation that I've been dying to have, news that I've been dying to get for months now. Holy shit is all I can say. And I'm being very careful so as not to spoil it, as not to be, here's the other thing. I don't want to be arrogant about it. I don't want to be overconfident about it because I don't want to fuck anything up or ruin anything. But It's, goddamn it, it's the greatest news I've gotten in a long time. And I feel good. I just feel really good. And I think the best way to not tell you what I'm talking about that's got me so distracted. And again, I'm not trying to tease. I'm not trying to do a gay taunt tease type of thing. It's literally, I'm struggling right now. I've been having conversations about this thing for the last 4 hours. It's all I've been living. It's all I've been talking about. So it's hard to transition into doing a show when you know that, when you have this burden of, they talk about the burden of knowledge. I have the burden of knowledge of something really, really great, and I have to hang on to it. I can't, as Hulkamaster says, you wouldn't be you if you didn't fumble this on the 1 yard line. I can't, this is something I cannot fumble on the 1 yard line, because not only is this amazing for my life, not only is this amazing for my family's life, it's also a big fuck you and a huge victory over people who put on a full court press and people who tried their absolute hardest and they failed. And it makes me feel vindicated. It's, I've used the phrase before, all that for a drop of blood. And I just can't wait to see how they're going to have to spin it, because they will. But shut up, Aaron. Let's do a show. I'm having a hard time catching my breath. Vidam with $5 says, the Vikings have only one QB now. The others left. Aaron Rodgers, welcome. No. Who's going to be our quarterback? We lost out on Daniel Jones. I mean, our quarterback's going to be J.J. McCarthy, and I'm so excited for the J.J. McCarthy era. Forgive me if I talk nothing but Vikings today. It might have to be the way it is. I have to distract myself, and the only thing more powerful than distracting myself from this wonderful news that I've just been sitting and getting updates and updates and updates on as it's happening in real time, maybe football will be the thing that distracts me. Also, Anthony's great news that he got today. Believe it or not, Anthony's great news, judging by the business conversations that I've been having, is actually affecting my life. That's the fucking craziest thing, is that what's happening with Anthony is actually being used as a measuring stick with people I'm talking to in regards to me. I got a text message from someone important yesterday, and it was a link to Anthony's return, and they said, hey, the return of the shock jock. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. So anyway, shut up. And things are wonderful. Things are amazing. And I cannot wait until I can expound further on it. Vidam with $5 says, I love you, my favorite Jew, Aaron. I am so excited for the future of this show, and our radio days are coming. I can't wait to get back on the radio. The internet is gay. I'm having a lot of fun with the internet. Like, everybody threw everything they had at me, and they failed, and I beat them, and I've defeated them, and it feels great. So I'm loving the internet. I'm loving the internet. You get to control your immersion level. The people who tried to kill me and kill me off, I make them melt down on a regular basis. I mean, Jesus Christ, what more can you ask for? Another perfect week. We haven't even talked about that yet. $5 from Crowder Wears Panties says, confirmed not a micro penis. I never had a micro penis to begin with, but I'm not going to sit on the internet and talk to you about my penis because I know A, that's gay, and B, you'd be fucking disgusted by it. I'm a little more talented and smarter than other people. And I got that confirmed today. Vidam with $5 says, oh my God, Aaron and Slam Piece are getting married. Congratulations, Aaron and Slam Piece. When is the wedding? I'm not saying that wouldn't be wonderful news, but that's not what the news is. Thank you guys very, very much. Thank you. Puerto Rican, I'll tell you, Puerto Rican prostate puncher's contributions tonight have helped a lot too. He says, Aaron measures from the gooch like a child. No, it's not a free hair transplant. No, I have to stop telling people that they're wrong on certain things. I have to stop doing that. Everybody's guesses are valid. So as far as the Vikings backup quarterback goes, some people have written in Brett Rippon. I don't know if Brett Rippon is ready for prime time. Jameis Winston is out there. Carson Wentz is out there. Free agents left. Who are the best available NFL free agents? Get Javon Hargrave the fuck out of there. He's a Viking now. The Vikings crushed it today. So starting last night, we re-upped Byron Murphy for $22 million. We got Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. And now our defensive line is stacked all of a sudden. And then our offensive line, we added Ryan Kelly and Will Fries from the Colts. So now 4/5 of our offensive line are Pro Bowlers. We grabbed another corner in the guy, Isaiah, whatever his name is, from Philly. So, I mean, look, we can draft whoever we want. We can trade back in the draft and get more players. We re-signed Aaron Jones. I mean, shit is just straight up looking good for the Vikings right now. Life is good if you are a Vikings fan. That's for sure. Von Kaiser says, would you rather get Doyle Hargraves? Well, Doyle Hargraves is coming back from that terrible lawnmower blade injury, you know? So I don't really know if Doyle Hargraves is the guy, you know? But I know that Carson Wentz is still left. People, if anyone says Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. No, I don't want Aaron Rodgers. But as far as quarterback, free agents by position. What do we have left? We have, you got Aaron Rodgers, Russ. Oh, I didn't know Russ was a free agent. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Mac Jones. Okay, so here's the guys I wouldn't mind bringing in as JJ's backup. Joe Flacco might be top of my list, old man Flacco. Jameis, no, too many interceptions. I've always kind of liked Marcus Mariota. I'm going to go Flacco, Mariota, Wentz are the three guys that I would take as the backup, and all three of them seem like they would be reasonably cheap gets. I'd be okay with those. And then Rippon can be the third guy. Crowder Wears Panties says there's no way Rodgers goes to Minnesota. I don't want him here. I don't want him and his bullshit. I don't want it here. I'm going to tell you this right now. 2009 Brett Favre had way more left in the tank than 2025 Aaron Rodgers does. It's not the same thing. He's not coming here. We don't want him. He'd be a cancer in the locker room. He'd be a cancer to J.J. McCarthy's development. I don't want him. Crowder Wears Panties says, I can see Russell Wilson in Minnesota. I wouldn't hate that one. I'm not against that. Anybody who knows that their better days are behind them and their job is to help bring along J.J. McCarthy and back him up. I know Wentz would fall into that really well. Flacco would fall into that insanely well. I think Russ could probably play that part as well. Taste Fairy Ialto says, how much money does Flacco want? Wasn't he the highest paid at one point? Yeah, yes, but he's 41, and his legs are shot, and, you know, he's basically, whatever he's got left up here in terms of football IQ, that's basically what he's running off of. So I wouldn't mind having Flacco as our backup. But yes, it's been a great free agent. Now, tomorrow is when free agency officially starts. So all these guys have agreed to terms, but they haven't signed the deals. I don't really know what our salary cap is going to look like until tomorrow. And then we'll know if we can even sign anybody else or if we've got to start cutting guys and restructuring contracts. I know there's some wiggle room in Brian O'Neill's contract. We can convert some salary into a bonus. I know that we can cut Garrett Bradbury now. We can cut Ed Ingram. We can restructure Josh Oliver. I mean, there's plenty of stuff we can do. Harrison Smith, we can figure out what to do with his salary. We got a lot of movement that we can make. But Vikings have crushed it in free agency so far. I'm very excited about the prospects for this season. We really are going for it. Sarah, thank you very much for $10 over on PayPal this evening. Very nice of you. Guys, only $80 tonight. The reason for that is this. This is another piece of good news that Steel Toe's been getting lately. So we had that week on Rumble. Our ad revenue was insane on Rumble for that week we were on there. Makes up for the revenue we lost on YouTube. Our memberships and subscriptions on Rumble and YouTube have been going up quite a bit recently. And we just got an ad revenue bump on Rumble again that came in today. And we're going to have to start refiguring the goals pretty soon. They're going to have to come down because ad revenue is up and memberships are up. I think over the next 30 days, we'll see what that impact is. And we'll bring down the goal in terms of a regular basis by, I don't know, $20 or so a day. I'm not really sure. But one thing's for sure is we got a pretty nice ad revenue payout and membership payout from Rumble, more so than we were expecting this month. So I did take that money and just put it towards tonight's goal because you guys, the evening show people have been ridiculously great. So we cut the goal in half tonight. It's already at $80. Thank you guys so much. The morning people are already $50 into their goal for tomorrow. So thank you for an incredible week so far. If you'd like to throw in a little, we're 80 away. We appreciate it. WHMH 101.7 top donations board. Average plumber in first at $100. Halada Fachina and Fuck You Dude tied at 50. Gray Duckling and Mussolini Diff are both tied at 46. So we got a bit of a logjam. We got a few 40s in there, lots of 20s, a couple of 30s, shitloads of 10s, and a bunch of 5s. So thank you guys very much for your widespread support. You going to get Rumble Studio working this week? Probably. I finally have that step-by-step thing from our Rumble guy on how Rumble Friday or on how Rumble Studio works with OBS. So we'll be able to do that, which I'm happy about. Vidam with $5, $75 away from tonight. Thank you very much. There we go. Puerto Rican prostate puncher. I gave you $3. Why am I not on the board, asshole? You know what? I'm sorry. That's my fault. Aaron, did you see this? NFL Live. Adam Schefter, Vikings plan to start quarterback J.J. McCarthy after Sam Darnold to Seahawks. Look, I'm getting really fucking tired of the national media. They're so goddamn stupid. Nobody in Minnesota, in the Vikings organization or their fans, were talking about anything other than J.J. McCarthy starting this season. That was the whole thing. That was the beginning of it. That was the end of it. The alpha and the omega was J.J. McCarthy this year. That was the plan. Sam Darnold was not coming back. We were not going to get Aaron Rodgers. All of this bullshit speculation by the national sports media is just that. Bullshit speculation. I think they're hearing shit from agents that's being used as leverage, and they're reporting it as fact. From the 2 games that Sam Darnold fucked up, from that point on, it was the J.J. McCarthy era in Minnesota. Guys, it's not like we took him in the 6th round. It's not like he's fucking Cooper Rush. We traded up to get the 10th overall pick to draft the kid. He's fucking starting. There was never any hesitation about this in Minnesota. Did they probably extend an offer to Darnold, a really low ball offer if he came back for a year? Yeah, probably. And guess what? He probably would have sat behind J.J. McCarthy. So this idea that Rodgers was ever an option, he's not. The idea that bringing Darnold back was ever an option, he's not. It's J.J. McCarthy's team, 100%. All right, you guys ready to get into some shit tonight? I know that I've done a great job in being as vague as possible on what's distracting me tonight because I'm not seeing anything that I gave it away, which is good. RP Jesus says, are you crushed that you lost Daniel Jones? Crushed? No, but I'm bummed. I thought he would be such a good backup for JJ and such a good reclamation project. Where did he go? Did he go to Indy? I think he went to Indy to compete for that job. Yeah. So, and honestly, if they have a good coach out there in Indianapolis and they have someone who can harness what he's capable of, and it's not the mess of a team that is the New York Giants with no offensive line and they took Saquon Barkley away from Daniel Jones, if they have a capable team there, he can beat, not only can he beat Anthony Richardson out for that job, but he can win some games for the Colts. I believe in Daniel. I believe in Dan Jonesy. I believe in Daniel Jones. They do. Yankee says Sam showed his true colors in the playoffs. Fuck that guy. I agree. Dinkelman says, I like how we beef up our offensive line. Bradbury is going to have to move to guard or get cut, and then we draft a guard. Am I the only guy who is okay with Blake Brandel starting next year? Like, I don't mind Blake Brandel. I thought of the 3 interior guys we had last year, he was the best out of the 3 of them. And that's faint praise. He'll be the worst out of all 3 of them this year with Fries and Kelly. But I wouldn't mind if Blake Brandel started this season. It wouldn't bother me at all. Bradbury moving to guard. If Bradbury can move to guard and be effective, I don't mind it. Bradbury's shown flashes, but he gets overpowered at center. Drafting a guard, I don't know. I think with Aaron Jones back, Byron Murphy back, the offensive and defensive line shored up, I think that frees us up to trade down. I think we're going to take that 24th pick. We're going to drop to the beginning or middle of the second round, and we're going to grab ourselves a 3rd round pick, a 4th round pick. This is a meaty draft. They say this is a pretty deep draft. We're going to get Scatabo from Arizona State as our running back in the 2nd or 3rd round. We're going to load up with some more linemen. You got to remember, Kelly is 30, 31 years old. So you might want to draft a center and develop him for a couple of years. Jonathan Allen is not a spring chicken. So maybe draft an interior lineman and he gets to play behind him for a couple of years. So I'm team trade down. And, really, unless you have a glaring need at a position, like last year we needed a quarterback. So I loved the McCarthy pick. And I don't mind the Dallas Turner pick, but boy, did we give up a lot to go get him. I hope he pans out and is really awesome. I was encouraged by what I saw last year. But I'm always a fan of trading down and getting more picks. If you don't need anyone, trade the fuck down. Like, I don't know, let's say the Bengals have a dog shit year because, and they had this scenario actually, because Joe Burrow gets hurt and he goes down for the year and the Bengals tank. If I had a top 3 pick and there were 3 stud quarterbacks in that draft, if I'm the Bengals, I'm trading the fuck out of that pick. And I'm getting a haul, like a serious haul, maybe 2 number 1s to get out of that spot. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it at all. Dinkelman says we need another safety. Not if Harrison Smith comes back. You got Josh Metellus, you got Theo Jackson, you got Harrison Smith. If Harrison Smith retires, maybe. See if Shaq Griffin or Stephon Gilmore will come back and they'll play safety and extend their careers a little bit, a la Charles Woodson. Give that a shot. But no, I'm happy, man. If this is where we stop at free agency, if this is the end, I think it's mission accomplished. I think we've done an incredible job so far. The Bears got a great head start on us, but I think we overtook them at the end. All right, let's get into some news. Let's talk about some shit. If you're just joining us tonight, revenue has beat expectations for Steel Toe this quarter. And we cut the goal in half tonight. We got a little surprise on the ad revenue and membership end, and we want to pass those savings on to you as quickly as humanly possible. So we cut tonight's goal in half. We're at $75 at the moment. Thank you guys very much for your generosity. We still have our 5th straight perfect week going. I can see it's already starting to drive haters nuts, and I know you guys. You roll your eyes like, oh, those fucking retards again. But it does feel good to watch them cope in the comment section. To watch them go, no, you didn't hit. It's like, sorry, we did. They have this really bad habit of when reality doesn't do what they want it to do, they just pretend reality happened that way and then blame it on me. They go, no, you didn't hit. It's like, well, I'm sorry. Yes, we did. That's just a fact. It shouldn't hurt your feelings. It shouldn't upset you. No, you're just, and then they always do this. Whenever they lose, they go, you're projecting. And I'm like, projecting what? Sitting here doing my show saying we hit the goal. Like, there's nothing to project. I think they just learn buzzwords and then they hear us say it about them when they're doing it, and then they try to just flip it, and it's really weird. But again, I think when you realize it's mental illness on their part, it starts to kind of make sense a little bit. So thank you guys very much. You entertained me as well. I got to thank you in a different way, but I thank you also. Thank you, Onionites, for constantly losing to Steel Toe, letting it drive you nuts, and then coming to tell me it drives you nuts. Shh, keep that part a secret. And like I said, Boyd, if you're just joining us, I'm having a hard time focusing tonight because the last few hours have just been some of the best news I've gotten in ages. Amazing news. I feel lighter. And some really good things happened. And if you don't like that we're hitting goals, you might want to keep your ears covered in the next few days and weeks. And don't blame me when you get mad. Let's go to some news, shall we? This was a big one from today. Sorry for the audio quality. Again, a lot of this Trump shit happens. A lot of this government reform stuff happens. And it happens remarkably slowly. It happens not at all and then all at once. It seems like we don't hear anything about something and we're like, wow, did they just forget about this? Is this just not happening? And then boom, breaking news. That thing just happens right off the bat. We got some great news on inflation today. I haven't gone to the grocery store to investigate this. I usually go about once a week, but I read that inflation is slowing and egg prices are down. Egg prices are down and inflation is slowing. So that's really good news. I think 2 weeks ago, I went to the grocery store. Eggs were $5.99. I went last week and they were $5.91. So last I saw at the store I go to, they went down 8 cents. You got to start somewhere, right? Well, remember when Donald Trump said we're going to get rid of the Department of Education in my term? And now like almost 2 months have gone by and you're like, yeah, are they really though? Are they going to get rid of the entire Department of Education? All of a sudden, out of the blue, we have all this tariff talk and we have all this economic talk and all this Doge stuff going on. And, Twitter goes down and NFL free agency. Well, out of the primordial ooze of Trump government reform, we get this information today.
Right now, senior Fox Business correspondent Charles Gasparino reporting that the Education Department employees have been told that they must vacate their offices in D.C. and the regions by 6 o'clock tonight, and that the offices will be closed on Wednesday for security reasons.
That's interesting. Now, I think it would be fucking hilarious if they announced tomorrow that, no, we're just fumigating, guys. It's not a big deal. We've just been hearing a lot about, there's some infestations going on at the Department of Education. We got to bring in some exterminators. It's very temporary. But I don't know, security reasons, evacuating the building, all workers don't show up. That sounds like we want you out of there so we can send you an email that says you're fired and you won't blow the place up. It sounds like the beginning of the end for the Department of Education, and kind of a bittersweet deal for Vince's wife, Linda McMahon, because she gets this job as the head of the Department of Education, and then she's the last one. It's like, oh, by the way, the thing you're the head of, we're going to kill it while you're there. I mean, I'm happy because what did we say? We've looked this up before. $350 billion. Department of Education budget. $268 billion. So you throw that in with the $150 billion that Doge has saved, and that's $400 billion right there going towards a $1.82 trillion budget deficit that we have. I mean, the shit adds up. The shit adds up, man. Bigot on socialist media says retardation in the USA can't get worse. This is a good start. A lot of people get nervous when you say get rid of the Department of Education. But, the thing is, we have 50 of them. We have 50 other departments of education in the United States. Every state has a Department of Education. And the federal Department of Education didn't exist until, check my math on this, but I believe 1977 is when the federal education department started. And with their overregulation and their overburdening the states and the local school districts, I feel like education's gotten worse since the federal Department of Education came in. And, not for nothing, when you talk to local school districts, and when I worked in Litchfield, I interviewed, school board directors or superintendents and people like that. And one of their biggest complaints they had is that the state and federal government would always give them these mandates. And every time they gave them a mandate, they attached no money to it. So the local school districts had to find a way to raise the money, which often meant raising property taxes, levies, things like that, in order to pay for the shit that the federal government was making them do. Class sizes got bigger, budgets got busted. So I have no problem with the federal Department of Education going away. In fact, I think it can happen, and we don't even have that much of an adjustment to make. And education in this country may not suffer. Hell, it may even do better because there's no Department of Education. Helgi says the Department of Education is a money laundering scheme and works to make our kids dumber and more compliant. I mean, you can't argue that education has gotten better in this country in the last 50 years. I don't think it has. Billy Bob Norris says, honestly, I'd be fine if the Department of Education was on a state level, something even libertarian Republicans have been pushing for years. It's true. Landers says, what are we, 10 from the bottom of the education ranking globally? Well, in the developed first world countries. Yeah. I mean, we're not the most impressive system. That's for sure. I'll tell you who's not happy about this. The head of the teachers union, the head of the National Teachers Union, Randy Weingarten. Randy is a she, allegedly. And Randy Weingarten has been around for quite some time running the public school teachers union. And the Department of Education has definitely been a friend to the teachers union. A lot of money flowing into the teachers' pockets from the Department of Education. And Randy Weingarten is not going to... Well, because you got to think, the federal government trough is huge. They can literally print money. They can borrow money, run up all sorts of debt. So it seems like a never-ending pool of cash. So, of course, these vultures want to dip their hands in it and grab as much as they can. They're like the sticky bandits, for Christ's sake. So Randy Weingarten, forgive her for maybe being a little biased on this Department of Education thing.
Is why so many people are so mad about it, because they're just taking opportunity away from kids that don't have it. So kids of billionaires, they have it. They go to private schools. Everyone else, 90%, go to public schools.
I have an idea. Why don't we create a voucher program with the $250 billion we're saving? And then maybe some of those poor kids can go to private school if they want to. People like Randy Weingarten fucking hate that. Teachers union people hate it when you say that, because that takes away from the tax base and that takes away from the revenue base that they get to draw from. I mean, if you think the teachers union exists to make school easier and better for kids, you're out of your fucking mind. It exists to get teachers more time off, more money, better compensation packages, which, but if you can get that, absolutely. Do teachers deserve it 9 months out of the year? Yeah, they do. Get paid for those 9 months. I mean, shit, when you factor in year-round pay, when you factor in the fact that they work 3/4 of the year, and then you factor in their retirement and benefits package, the average teacher in this country makes the equivalent of $75,000 to $90,000 a year. I mean, I'm not saying that you're not going to get wealthy at that salary, but you're not hurting. You can live a decent life on that money. But the teachers union is never going to, if it comes to hurting the teachers to help the kids, they'd never do it. Not that they have to. They're the teachers union. But I don't like it when they hide behind children to get what they want, because that's really fucking gross. I would have no problem with the public teachers union if they would just admit, we're here for your tax dollars. We want to get as much of it as we can for the teachers. The children and their education is not our first motive. We are not here to, how do I put this without you guys making jokes? We are not here to make the kids the first priority. We're here to take care of the teachers.
Don't take away their opportunity.
So let's stay on the facts.
Sorry,
no,
I'm
do
really
not apologize.
angry about this.
No, because this
I'm
is what
really
people
angry.
need to hear.
I taught kids in Clara Barton High School in Brooklyn, New York.
And back then we used an abacus, and you walked uphill to school both ways, 15 miles in the snow. We're happy for you. But Trump wants to get rid of the Department of Education. He wants this to save the taxpayers a shitload of money. Here's basically what Trump wants to do. Trump wants to keep the parts of government that work. I don't think Donald Trump is as radical as, say, I am or some of you would be. I don't think Donald Trump wants to cut government the way like I do. I don't think Trump's even coming at it from a Republican or Democratic mindset. I think Trump's looking at it like a businessman. That's why he had these progress reports for these federal employees. And the fact that these federal employees threw a fit about the progress report should tell you a lot about the state of the public sector workforce. This is something in the private sector that's pretty common. You know? I mean, the fact that Trump wants to just find out what you're doing with your time that the taxpayers are paying you for and you're throwing a fit over it, that gives me reason to be concerned about public sector employees. I think Trump wants to find out what works and he wants to keep it. I think he wants to find out what's redundant and what doesn't work, and I think he wants to eliminate that. And I understand a lot of people feel threatened by that. I understand you've got a lot to lose. At the same time, us taxpayers, you're standing between us and getting our financial house back in order. You're not going to garner a lot of sympathy from us. That's all. 383 Novocaine with $1 says, breaking news, the new 93X Steel Toe Morning Show. Look, their ratings are slipping a little bit, but that's, I'm not going to talk about why I'm very happy today. I'm not going to talk about why I'm very distracted on tonight's show, although I will say doing the show has kept me from being so distracted. I'm going to want to go back to thinking about it and talking about it and discussing it after the show's over. Let's just say it was amazing news. It feels good to win. And I'll have more for you in the weeks to come. That's all. Let's go to Landers. He says she means you know what? Let's not go to Landers. You know what? I just started reading. Let's not go to Landers. The comment started with Negroes. Yankee says, as a member of the Teamsters, I can honestly say fuck the unions. I'll tell you this, I don't necessarily mind private sector unions. I don't, because my thing is, if the private sector unions negotiate with the money men and they want to get what they want, that's fine with me. That's the people who run the business and the people who write the checks negotiating with the people who work. That's between them, fine. The reason I hate public sector unions is that I'm the taxpayer. I'm the one they're negotiating against. I don't really have a representative in that deal. Nobody is pressing my interest at those union negotiations. So I don't like that. That's not how it's supposed to work. Kloppo, not really terrible at all. Just getting right up to about 300. We're always between 300 and 400 in the evenings. About 200 YouTube, about 100 Rumble. We're right in that neighborhood. You're expecting way too much, buddy. You're expecting way too much, Kloppo. Rusty Grammer says I love this one too. Whenever I'm right about something or whenever I beat my detractors, which is on a daily basis, Kloppo, you're trying to gaslight us about radio. I'm not saying a fucking thing. You guys get ideas in your head. They don't come true, and you yell at me. That's not me gaslighting you. You gaslight yourselves. I don't say a fucking thing. You get mad at me because the thing you made up in your head didn't happen. I'm sorry. Like this Yelmir guy, I triggered the fuck out of him too. I'm sorry, buddy. I love that I make you do that. Helgi says school teachers have always been the dumbest motherfuckers in our society. They want to get paid to teach kids how to tie their shoes and learn the alphabet. I don't like, to me, it's not even like fuck the teachers. It's just, let's make education about educating children first and not everybody grabbing at the fucking trough of money and seeing what they can get from it. Like, we're not going to have a good education system that way when it's all run by red tape, bureaucracy, and money grabs. I didn't hear the word educate children in there once in any of that. So I think this is a positive development. We'll see what happens. I don't know if they're going to shut down the whole thing. Or if it's going to be some other kind of announcement that's coming tomorrow. Let's going to Kloppo. He says, because we know you are. Well, no, I would say you don't. I would say with the amount that anti-steel toe people are wrong and then I make them just lose their mind and cope. I mean, and then they have to make up fan fiction to self-soothe. It's like, I leave them completely alone and they destroy themselves on their own. They're nuts. They don't know me because they get a lot of shit wrong. I would say 96%. And the shit they get right is shit I already told them. And they didn't believe me. You know, when they're yelling, projecting, or gaslighting, and then it's all true. Like, I'm sorry. Again, you set yourself up for this fall. Let's talk about this David Gottfried guy. You talk about a guy who was this close. You talk about a guy who was this close to getting what he wanted. And just fucked it up with an unforced error. If you haven't seen this guy, there is a special election in the Minnesota State House of Representatives. And this special election is going to determine whether the Democrats or the Republicans have the majority in the Minnesota House of Representatives. It's a really big deal. Well, the Democratic candidate had a video go viral today that is not going to look, let's just say it's not going to look good to a certain color of voters. Libs of TikTok put this video out. This is David Gottfried rant. Apparently, David Gottfried is running for the House of Representatives, and he's a server. At least one of his jobs are as a server. And he wanted to talk about black people, slavery, and tipping. Now, I know you hear those three things together and you're like, wow, this guy's really about to bend over and fuck himself. Oh, brother, you have no idea. Enjoy this one. It's going to be good. I think this might drop him a few points in the polls.
Them celebrate a birthday, catering to every whim that they have, helping two of them get engaged. Yes, that happened tonight. And then when I see that, and then they don't want to do the customary 20% gratuity, that makes me feel trod upon. That makes me feel like shit. It's
Imagine turning on your phone and broadcasting this thought to the world. Like, again, this is what's embarrassing. I'll throw this back on the anti-steel toe people because it drives them nuts. This guy reminds me of those people. Like, imagine voicing these thoughts out in the open and not thinking you're humiliating yourself. Like, at least I humiliate myself for profit. I mean, these jackasses embarrass themselves regularly for the love of the game. I mean, you gotta. So this guy's running for office. He's got a free little extra part-time gig because the session is only a few months long. And he gets a per diem and he gets his living taken care of while he's down there, the whole deal. And he goes on a rant about, oh, it sucks when I don't get my customary 20% tip. Like, that would be bad enough. That's a dumb enough thing to turn on your phone and fucking rant about. You know what you do? This used to be, you come home, you talk to your roommate, your girlfriend, your wife, a buddy of yours at the bar, whatever, and you used to complain to him about work. I didn't get my 20% tip. Man, that really fucking sucks. God damn, I hate these people. What people? Don't worry about it. Now, people are so antisocial and retarded and they don't get outside and touch any grass that they think the phone and the people on the other side of the phone are their friends. It's fucking pathetic. It's like going onto a Reddit or a Discord and thinking these people are a replacement for friends. You fucking sad, sad panda. And then you go on there and complain about your real life job. And then on top of that, you're trying to be an elected official. And then you go on this.
That makes me feel trod upon. That makes me feel like shit. It's ironically enough, it is me suffering from one of the vestiges of slavery in America, which
you're suffering from the last vestiges of slavery in America because you don't get a 20% tip when you have a giant party or a wedding announcement. Bro, I feel like every time somebody does this kind of rant, they should have to be like, we should legalize slavery as a punishment. And for 7 days, they should have to be someone's slave. Just so they can get the frame of reference so they don't do that again.
which I suppose is, I guess, appropriate being that I am a white guy. But the fact of the matter is, when somebody stiffs me or leaves 10% after I have done my damnedest to make sure that they had a great fucking time, I feel used, and honestly, it makes me feel like fucking shit.
That's me talking about not hitting the goal. Luckily, we're almost on 5 perfect weeks in a row. Again, sorry. Oh, sorry. Trigger warning. It's been about 5 weeks in a row. So, the last vestiges of slavery, because he didn't receive a large tip from a customer. Now, I heard somebody saying that he was even talking about black customers not tipping enough in this rant. They must have pulled back on that one. They must have pulled back on that claim. They must have kind of used that to juice it up to make it even worse. But, dude, Jesus Christ, I got 10% instead of 20%. This must be what slavery was like. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with that. You know, let's take a look at what, here, District 40B in Minnesota. Let's see what the demographics of that are. Minnesota Legislative District 40B. 40A, here we go, 40B. Oh, that's just south of where I grew up. I believe there's Lexington. Yeah, Arden Hills, Shoreview right there. Wait a minute, I might be in 40B. There's Lake Owasso. Beautiful Lake Owasso. 694, 36. No, this is by Roseville here. No, this wouldn't be my people. I don't believe this would be. Where's Mounds View? Up there? No, I'm up here. I'm up in this area here over by Mounds View. No, fuck that noise. That's right. Shoreview's kind of cut into 2 parts, so I'm actually off this map. I'm over here. You might say, but Aaron, wait a minute. Shoreview's right there. No, Shoreview's a weird city where it's cut in like 2 places, and I'm over up by Mounds View is where my people are. His district is down here. Roseville. You know what? I don't know if the slavery thing's going to hurt him that much. He's got this little district right here, which is basically Roseville, Minnesota. Roseville, not very colorful, if I could put it that way. Roseville is one of the more southern, northern suburbs of Minneapolis. If you see here, so you got Shoreview's up here. Minneapolis is down here. Roseville is like right there. Roseville's the last, like if you're driving to a Vikings game from Shoreview, Roseville's the last one you hit before you get into town. Before they have that 35, what is it? The 35-36 split. That's where it is. But Roseville, I don't think, here, city data, Roseville, Minnesota. They're not very black there in Roseville. Yeah, 68.9% white. Well, I don't know. Well, 9.1% black. 8.2% Asian. You know, it'll be close. It'll be close. If he wins, Jesus, you got to hate it. Like, you've got to be upset if you're the Democratic Party and they fuck up this close to a special election. Like, if you're going to fuck up a special election where the balance of power in the House hangs in the balance, you want to have those fuck ups months and months away where they can replace you. It's kind of like when Biden dropped out of the race. It's like, did they have to hang on to him until that first debate? And now Kamala Harris has like 90 days to run for president. I mean, the only thing is, in Biden's case, they knew he was fucking senile for 4 years. They could have replaced him at any time. But this guy, they were like, well, he can't be completely retarded. And now we're like a month or so away from the special election. He's like, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm 1,000% slavery retarded. I mean, we always do this thing where like, why don't more regular Joes run for office? Fuck it. That's why. Why don't we have more servers and regular people run for office? Because we had a bartender. We had a bartender in AOC become a congresswoman. That's been great. And you got this guy. He's a server. That works out great. So I don't. There's a reason that it's always like lawyers and people who are careful with their shit, you know? Taste Ferry Ialto says, I used to work in Roseville, and believe me, it's gotten darker. Yeah, my mom used to work in Roseville when I was a kid. I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe 10% black in Roseville. That's a little higher than I thought it was, so you might have a point there. $75 away from tonight's goal. Thank you guys very much for your generosity. We do appreciate it. Hit like, hit subscribe. $75 away from keeping this week perfect. Thank you so much. But you know what? We got an hour and 10 minutes left. 75's no gimme anymore. There's still no guarantee. I mean, we got off to a really hot start. I mean, shit was going crazy there for a while at the beginning of the show. It's still missable. Hour and 10 minutes, $75. We've cooled harder than that before. It looks like the gutting of USAID is officially done. And we have the totals. We know how many programs have been eliminated, and we pretty much know how much money has been saved. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said yesterday that the Trump administration has finished its 6-week purge of programs of the U.S. Agency for International Development. Isn't that fucked up that they picked those names? Because you hear the name USAID and you're like, oh, aid. I mean, aid's a good thing. We like it when, we can aid people. But USAID is the Agency for International Development. It's basically bribing poor countries to do what we want to do and give us their natural resources or have their government like our government. It's the United States Bribery Agency. But it's given a nice name like USAID. Hey, can we read all your emails and listen to all your phone calls? No. Why would you be against the Patriot Act? Are you not a patriot? Unbelievable. Now let me read your fucking text, you pig. No, I want my privacy. That's not what patriots say. It says it right here in the Patriot Act. If you're against it, let's not be a patriot. I mean, back when they wrote that, they'd be like, what are you, French? That was a sad time, man. That's when you had like otherwise smart people and they would say shit to you like, what? What do you have to hide? It's like, no, not you too. Like you would have otherwise really smart people like 9/11 fucked them up, and I get that. And they'd be like, yeah, taking off your belts and your shoes and all your other shit at the airport. You got to do that. Don't you want to be safe? And I'm like, I don't really understand how taking off my shoes and my pants at the airport is really going to help. And like, what do you have to hide? I'm like, oh, fucking bomb in my shoe. Are you? Which, by the way, don't do that at the airport. Turns out they don't like it. But, like, can the government read your emails? No, the government can't read my fucking emails. I've had enough of unauthorized access of my emails. No, thank you. Come on. What do you have to hide? Plenty. Not that it's any of your fucking business. I love that one. What do you have to hide? Wouldn't you like to know? Yes, that's why I'm passing the Patriot Act. I would like to know. Nope. So I don't, when they give these things flowery names, just assume it's the worst thing ever. So Rubio's social media post Monday said the USAID review was now officially ending with 5,200 of USAID's 6,200 programs eliminated. They eliminated about 5 out of every 6 programs. Those programs spent tens of billions of dollars in ways that did not serve and in some cases even harmed the core national interests of the United States. And I can't imagine that countries like Pakistan, I don't really imagine that I don't think that in Pakistan, what is it? The trans awareness education dollars were really hitting the way you thought. I don't think if you go over to that part of the world and you start asking them about trans people, they'll say anything but haram. Sam Show says, that's funny coming from a guy who frequently wonders the quality of men's asshole. What? No. During the King Arthur discussion today, I just said, imagine how dirty those guys' assholes were. I don't know if that's constantly worrying about the state of men's assholes. That's just seeing obviously unkempt people and making an observation. Sam Show. Let's go to Billy Bob Norris. He says, I flew to Atlanta recently and had to put my CPAP on the conveyor belt. Of all the things that look like a bomb, a CPAP definitely looks like a bomb. Well, yeah, I'm sure they were thinking, what is this wheezing motherfucker doing on getting on this plane? Got to have the CPAP on the physical airplane. Sam Show says, you observed their unkempt assholes proudly. Look, I don't want to sit here and haggle over the meaning of the term proudly. Okay? Why don't we just agree to disagree and we move on to what's next? Did you see the musical act at the Bernie Sanders rally in Wisconsin this weekend? Oh my fucking stars. Was this lady? ? The greatest. I don't know if I can't see her midriff. I don't know which gender she is. But Bernie Sanders had a rally in Wisconsin. And I'm worried that Bernie is now just this old man, this doddering old guy that they just tell shit to. And he just goes, and just as long as he can go up there and make his Marxist speech, he's a happy guy. As that 1%er goes up to rail against the 1%. So they'll stick all kinds of really extreme shit into his rallies, and he'll be like, they tell me this is good. They tell me that this is something the American people want. So this is something that I'm going to give them. Here's the Dixie Chicks with Dicks performing their latest hit. So this artist goes up there, goes up and starts singing a lovely song before Bernie Sanders goes up.
God have a big fat dick, 'cause it feels like he's fucking me.
God must have a big fat dick, 'cause it feels like it's fucking me. Coming up, number 4 on the charts with a bullet. Here's Trans Lady with God must have a big fat dick, 'cause it feels like he's fucking me. On American Top 40. Can this one be on the charts? I'm not really sure. Imagine that. Imagine you're at a rally in Wisconsin, which is still it's Midwest. It's pretty plain people. You got someone screaming this, and then the guy right after that is some 90-year-old who looks like Stan Marsh's grandpa. He's like, all right, Billy, I want to tell you about the corporations and the pharmaceutical companies and the oil companies and why they need to pay more taxes. And how about that last act? The song's beautiful music.
His balls filled with lightning, do they tingle like heaven's keys? Does your God have a big fat dick? 'Cause it feels like he's fucking me.
I mean, who's more obsessed with cocks in this equation? This person or Nick Rekieta? I'm not really sure. I mean, it's really, really close at this point. It's running neck and neck. Crowder Wears Panties says, that's a spot on Bernie, not going to lie. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Although I will say in terms of impressions, the Bernie Sanders one, not the most difficult one to do. You just have to be really Jewy and talk as loud as you can. And you have to just let your cheeks shake like a Shar-Pei puppy, and then just sound really, really irritable and crabby. That's about it. That's how you do a Bernie. That's about it. Crowder Wears Panties says Sanders is such a fucking hack. He's predictable. I do put him in the classification of true believer, though. Like, I do think he believes his bullshit for whatever that's worth. $75 away from tonight's goal. Thank you guys very much. If you don't want to contribute anything to the goal tonight, we are over 300 of you checking it out, so I don't know what Kloppo was talking about earlier. And wow, it's not even 7 o'clock yet. You know, we've been having a tough time in this first hour as we adjust to a new time. But we peaked up over that 300 number. Very nice. Before the first hour was even done. Make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, comment. Love you. Appreciate you. Thanks a ton. If you're thinking about throwing $5 or $10 in, let's do that because we're only $75 away. And this is the second to the last evening show of the week. So thank you guys fully and completely for your extensive generosity to this program. All right, enough about God's penis and Bernie Sanders rallies. And although I'll be honest, that song is about the most excitement the Democratic Party's seen at a rally lately. They don't have a lot to be excited about. So if singing about God's dick is what does it for him, God bless whatever's working. Phil Herslit says it's the second to first evening show of the week too. I mean, he's not wrong. Hey, let me know if this surprises you. President Joe Biden, former, I didn't mean to bother you, give you a heart attack. Former President Joe Biden had an auto pen signing most of his paperwork for him during his administration. Can you believe it? I got to tell you, I had to pick myself up off the floor when I heard such a thing. You mean Joe Biden didn't, you know those press conferences that Trump gives where he's signing those executive orders with those really awesome markers? Love those things, by the way. Just the sounds they make. It's ASMR kind of shit. But Joe Biden, we never saw him doing that. We never saw Joe Biden doing the. That's because apparently he was using an auto pen signature for most of it, which has made caused some people to wonder out loud if any of those decisions that were auto penned are still considered valid. And I'll be honest with you, kind of a good question. The majority of official documents signed by President Joe Biden allegedly used the same auto pen signature, reinvigorating concerns over the former president's mental acuity and if he actually ordered the signature of relevant legal documents. I mean, technically, you could be the person who controls the auto pen signature and you could just put Biden's name on it. And as long as they were all keen on keeping the secret, he never even had to know about it. And honestly, do you think it was difficult to hide shit from Joe Biden? And you say what you want about the Biden administration, but boy, did they keep secrets. I mean, Biden pardoned his whole family and Fauci and the J6 committee and all of these other people because they all had secrets to keep with each other. So, you know, we often heard stories about how Joe Biden wasn't in charge and everything was kind of run by committee and Jill Biden was maybe officially in charge. Yeah, I would believe it if someone came to me and said, Aaron, we looked into it. We found out that Joe Biden didn't even know that his name was going on a lot of shit. I would buy it. And I also have a little sympathy for the people who were using the auto pen thing and using that shortcut to put Biden's name on shit. Do you want to be the aide? Do you want to be the person who had to explain to Joe Biden what something was so he could consent to signing it? The motherfucker didn't know where he was 3/4 of the time. So do you want to sit there and you go, President Biden, this is a bill to fund the government for the next 6 weeks. I thought I signed that last week. Well, you didn't. We need you to put your John Hancock on. Joe Hancock, my name's Joe Biden. No, that's good, sir. John Hancock. It's a slang term for signature. Do you think you could sign that? What's it for again? Fuck it. Give me the auto pen. I understand. I'm not saying the people who had the auto pen were evil. I'm saying we suck for putting an invalid old man in the White House. And honestly, whether we did or not, one thing I'd like to know before Trump leaves office, and I know he'll catch shit if he does it, but I would like the 2020 election fully investigated. And if it turns out that Biden got 80 million votes and he kicked Trump's ass, then I'd be totally fine with it. I'm just saying I have some questions. That's all. With the mail-in voting and everything else, I'd just like to know. Aces says that's Aaron's new favorite karaoke song. Which one? I don't know. Kloppo says Governor Aaron decided to go with Dylan Mulvaney as his press secretary due to his strong support for the gay community. Where did this come from? I watch one clip of King Arthur, and I comment that the Saxons must have had really filthy assholes, and all of a sudden now that's my thing. Oh, the Aces, I know what you're talking about now. The Bernie Sanders rally song. Yeah. No, I'm gonna next time I'm at a karaoke night, I'll belt that one out. Papa Shab with a good point. Aaron needs an auto pen for his whiteboard. I was writing down the names today, and I was like, God damn, I'm running out of room. And you see, I mangled average plumber. I mangled halata vagina. I got the spacing and the size all wrong. Writing's never been my strong suit. $75 away from tonight. Everybody throw in just a little. We'll call it a win. We'll get it knocked out. No tricks, no games this time. Thank you guys so much for your generosity. So yeah, the majority of Biden's documents apparently were signed by this auto pen. It's one thing I do appreciate about Trump is his openness. I mean, he signs that shit right in front of people. Then he takes questions on it. He answers the questions about it. You don't have to like what the guy's doing, and certainly he's done some questionable things for a lot of people. But you got to admit, he's way more transparent than the last guy was. I don't even know if that's debatable at this point. Here's something that Trump does that kind of annoys me. And I think it annoys Sam's show too. He thinks that it's like good, or that it's good for freedom or good for America that we arrest people who are protesting Israel and speaking out in favor of the Palestinians, which, look, my position on that whole conflict is that Israel acts like savages and Hamas acts like savages. I don't really know who I would consider the good guy in that whole thing. But at these college campuses, a lot of these students, they get the liberal agenda cooking and everything else, and they like them some Palestine, and they think Israel's a bunch of war criminals. The Trump administration, because his fucking son-in-law is Jared Kushner, he's got a soft spot for Israel to the point where these pro-Palestinian demonstrators apparently have to have their First Amendment rights taken away from this. I'm really against this shit. And not only do we have Trump advocating for it, but we have like some of his attack dogs in the Senate. Like, we're going to play a Ted Cruz clip, and depending on my mood that day, Ted Cruz, I can either tolerate him or hate his fucking guts. Ted Cruz is cheerleading this shit. Like, Ted Cruz is saying, hey, if you bring anti-Semitism to campus, the Trump administration will prosecute. Oh, okay, I guess to some people that sounds good, but isn't that what Republicans complain about, is hate speech laws? Hate speech is protected speech. The Republican Party is supposed to be the party of sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. If you bring anti-Semitic speech to campus, the Trump administration will prosecute. Well, number one, anti-Semitism is hating Jews. You're allowed to hate people. That's part of free speech. You're not allowed to hurt people. You're not allowed to strike people, discriminate, shit like that. But you're allowed to hate people. That is part of free speech, is hate. If we only needed to protect love speech, we wouldn't need free speech. but you need it to protect disgusting shit that people say that you disagree with. And number two, the most disconcerting thing about this whole deal, who gets to determine what's anti-Semitic? Because I've seen a lot of Republicans say that criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic. And I'm sorry, I ain't down with that. Every country does stuff that can be criticized, this one included, but Israel especially. So A, anti-Semitism is protected by the First Amendment. Second of all, just because someone doesn't support Israel doesn't mean they're anti-Semitic. That's important. This is Ted Cruz talking about the Trump administration and their thoughts on speech on campus. Remember when Republicans were always against all these libs shutting down speakers and, curtailing people's right to free speech? And, hey, we got to have free speech on campus. Well, I just feel like that knife should cut both ways.
Is it clear that there is significant money funding these attacks on Jewish students and attacks on America?
It is clear that there is coordination and there must be some...
What are the attacks on America? Criticizing Israel for being too aggressive? That's not an attack on America. I hate when these people try to act like they're freedom fighters, but what they're really saying is America's too fucking fragile for free speech. America is strong enough to handle words that might hurt Jewish people's feelings or Muslim people's feelings. Nobody's getting rounded up for waving Israeli flags. Nobody's getting rounded up for protesting on behalf of Israel. Nobody has to worry about their freedom or safety doing that. In fact, you get applauded for it. But there's a lot of people out there who are of the opinion that Israel has committed war crimes. And whether or not they're guilty, you could certainly make that argument. So this idea that when one side protests against Israel, it's anti-Semitic hate speech, but the other side protests for Israel, you can't criticize them at all. I hate to use this term. But if you want to find out who's in charge, look at who you can't criticize.
Common funding.
In the last 2 years, under the Biden Justice Department, are you aware of any investigation to follow the money behind these protests?
I am not.
Are you?
That's because in this country, you have a freedom to organize a protest, and the government can't come in and say why. The government can't come in and say, who gave you the money for this protest? The correct answer to that is, and I don't care if I agree with you or disagree with you, the correct answer to that is none of your fucking business. I mean, I feel like such an idiot sometimes. Full stop, right there, done. But I feel like such an idiot sometimes because I still believe in defending people you disagree with if they're not breaking any rights or laws or rules. So, do I have a lot in common with a pro-Palestinian protester? No, not really. And I don't really give a shit about their plight. I'll be honest with you. I just don't. I got other shit to worry about. But I don't think they're being anti-Semitic just for protesting. I don't think they should be stopped. I don't think their funding source should be investigated any more than I think how Jeffrey Epstein became really wealthy should be investigated right now. And Jeffrey Epstein actually hurt people. Not that we'd ever fucking know, because Pam Bondi's a liar and she'll never release those fucking papers. She doesn't have the balls, literally and figuratively. But this idea that this woman can go before Congress and she can go, yeah, these pro-Palestinian protests, all anti-Semitic. We should investigate where the money's coming from and shut them down. This smacks of the Red Scare. This smacks of McCarthyism.
Are you aware of anyone who has been indicted for funding these protests?
I am not.
Why should you be indicted for funding people's right to their First Amendment? Gatherings and public gatherings and public protests are allowed under the First Amendment. So why should we be investigating the people who fund that?
Are you aware of any university that has had their Title VI federal funds cut off because they've tolerated, welcomed, celebrated, and as Senator Hawley put out, had their own officials cheering on anti-Semitism, as even one university...
I'm sorry, guys. This is scary to me. This is not okay. This is literally calling something it isn't so that you can target those people. Which is ironic, because if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd be screaming anti-Semitism. It's such a tilted table. You cannot criticize Israel or side with the Palestinians Look, man, I'm an American. I ain't a fucking Israeli. I don't feel a kinship with Israel. I don't feel a kinship with Great Britain. I'm an American. First and last, that's it. I don't have dual citizenship. I don't have dual loyalties. You are just as allowed to be on Palestine's side as you are to be on Israel's side in this country. You know whose side I'm on in the whole thing? America's side. Let me know how it shakes out.
They lost their funding.
I am not aware of any university having actually lost their fund.
They shouldn't. For that.
I'll point out also some of the defenders say free speech, free speech. You're right. You have a free speech right as an American citizen to say vile, hateful, bigoted things. Let me ask you something. If a university student went into the public square dressed up in a Klan outfit, burned a cross, and said we should murder African-American students, do you have any doubt the university would expel that student?
Nobody's fucking doing that. Nobody is calling for every Jewish person to be killed on college campuses. And if they are, that one student should be disciplined. That is not an organized school thing. Like, does anyone else see what they're doing here? Does anyone else clearly see? Like, I'm tired of this Republicans good, Democrats bad shit. These people get in power and they flip on everything they've ever said, because they have the power to impose their will. You cannot trust these people. They are all snakes. It doesn't matter if they're blue or red.
I am fairly certain that the universities would take action and ensure that their policies
They should
were followed.
expel them if they're foreign students. They should be deported. And mark my words, if you are horrified at the anti-Semitism, you will see the Trump Department of Justice follow the money, prosecute the people who are paying for this, prosecute those engaged in violence, and cut off the money from universities.
Prosecute the people involved in violence. That's fine. No matter who it is. If a Jewish protester says, kill all the Muslims, that's incitement. We should and look, I don't think anybody should be occupying a prison cell because they get carried away and they yell something like that during a protest. I mean, the cops should detain them, remove them from the protest. That person just needs to fucking cool their heels for a little bit. I don't think we should be, taking up a jail cell for that person. You just can pull them out and be like, hey, why don't you fucking cool it for a little bit? All right, I'm going to zip tie you here. I'm going to keep you by this car. You fucking chill out. Just put them in timeout for a little while. It's a bunch of college kids getting a little crazy during a protest. He's talking about deporting people and cutting off funding and arresting people and throwing them in jail for a protest that gets out of hand.
That are tolerating and
this coming from the, and by the way, I'm going to have to play this card. This coming from the fucking January 6th people. A lot of the January 6th people got a raw deal and they were set up, and a lot of them were exercising their First Amendment right and didn't vandalize anything or hurt anything or hurt anybody. But now, because it's our buddy Israel who doesn't like it, now we got to start rounding people up like they're J6ers. That's great. It's great, Ted. I hate Ted Cruz. You know how I said that I balance between tolerating and hating Ted Cruz? Ted Cruz is a fucking dick.
Celebrating this, that is the rule of law. And ask yourself, why did the Biden Justice Department do absolutely nothing about this horror that is unfolding?
Oh, yeah, because the Biden administration was totally against Israel. Oh, 100%. Oh, yeah. Absolute. The Biden administration really didn't like it. They didn't cater and kowtow to Israel. They cut off all those weapons. And Papa Shab says this is all performative. Cruz is trying to impress his donors. Puerto Rican prostate puncher with $1 says, you know when we said you're going to fuck up at the goal line? I haven't yet. John Domingo says the guy who they want to deport isn't a citizen. I'm not. Well, if he broke the law, then let's talk about deportation. But just do not confuse yourself here. Just protesting and saying shit critical of Jews or critical of Israel is a God-given right you are allowed in this country. And if you are here legally, I believe you should get to enjoy that freedom. And it would be pretty fucking hypocritical of the Republicans who have bitched about free speech on college campus since I was a kid to all of a sudden start locking people up for speech now. John Domingo says, so Jewish students shouldn't be allowed to go to class when... I'm sorry, did I I'm looking for those words that ever came out of my mouth. Don't do that hacky Fox News boomer shit to me. I didn't say Jewish kids shouldn't be scared to go to, or should be scared to go to class. That's not what I said. I said if people are out there exercising their First Amendment right and being critical of Israel and promoting the Palestinian cause, I can agree with it, I can disagree with it, but I can't be throwing people in jail or cutting off universities' funding for it. Helgi says McCarthy was right, so was General Patton. All right, you know what? I will say this. I was thinking about that when I said it. The McCarthy thing was a bad example because a lot of the stuff that McCarthy did, he gets a bad rap for. He did actually find a lot of fucking commies and spies that were working in the American government. You know? Oh, boy. Puerto Rican prostate puncher says, Aaron picked a great segment. I never said I got a new job. Boy. Really? Is that? John Domingo says, fuck all you Jew haters. It's not Jew hate to say that people have a right to be to criticize Israel. Because if you say that people have a right to be critical of Israel, then if that's the case, you're throwing a lot of Jews into that group. You understand there are Jewish people who are critical of Israel. They're in there as well. Bapa Shab says, seriously, grow the fuck up. Loyalty to a place where you never set foot. Yeah, look, man, I don't get it either. I don't get Americans who are simping for Israel or for the Palestinian cause. I don't get either one. Puerto Rican prostate puncher, that's very funny. Bigot on socialist media says Jesus, when you put it that way, I can't just read it. There's a lot of explaining. Clopogram says, not if it's saying from the river to the sea. Well, what's that saying from the river to the sea? Palestine shall be free. And there's a lot implied in that, but I always err on the side of the First Amendment. I err on the side of the First Amendment. I think you should be allowed to chant that. You'd be like, well, the meaning of that means that, well, yeah, we can argue the meaning, but I don't want to get into a place where you can throw someone in jail and violate their free speech rights on a semantics argument. I think that a call to action that puts people in danger should be clear and present and self-evident. It should be right there in black and white. It shouldn't be like, well, he said this, but that could mean that. At that point, you've already lost your freedom, essentially. Thank you very much to Thomer Gomer for $50 over on the PayPal end of things. Thomer Gomer crushing. Sorry, Justin Kemple. I apologize.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
I hate it when people come here for a very specific reason to promote mental illness awareness, and then a $50 drop comes in. It's really too bad. $25 away from tonight, and $25 away from the perfect week continuing. Thank you very much, Thomer Gomer. We appreciate it. Oh my God, pushing $350 this evening. Thank you very much. Boy, it only took a couple of weeks, but the numbers creeping back up to where they used to be, near that 400 number, before the, what do you call it? Before the time change, before we move things up an hour. People are getting used to it. I really appreciate it, guys. You have, there's no doubt, you're the best audience out there. When you watch a show because you love it, you're a lot more loyal than when you watch a show because you hate somebody else. I'll tell you that much. Sorry, guys. Sorry. And thank you, Thomer Gomer. He says, technically a morning show viewer, take it off the goal and don't mention it until called out on it. Oops. I should probably read those before I do the thank you part, because now I just fucked that up. Plankton with $4.99 says, be real, though. You hate the tiny hat people. After all these years, one thing remains consistent about your rants. I don't dislike Jewish people at all. I really don't. I don't dislike Jewish people at all. I don't like that I just don't like double standards and hypocrisy. And we have a glaring double standard and hypocrisy when it comes to how we treat Israel versus how we treat other countries. That's all. there's very much a clear bias in their favor, and I think it's good to speak truth to those biases, I think. Pizza shit. You're mean. This is mean. $4.99 from Pizza Shit says, happy to see you doing so well. Thank you. That part's nice. You could have kept it right there, Pizza Shit. And by the way, I'm doing even better after this afternoon. Holy shit. Like I said, distracted as all hell tonight. I hope the show's still okay. But boy, did I get some fucking phenomenal news tonight. And it's going to drive a lot of people nuts. But I'm trying to not let that be the reason I'm excited. The reason I'm excited is because a big part of my life is just about over in a way that makes me very, very happy and very, very satisfied. And the fact that it's going to cause a lot of people to lose their fucking shit should not be the reason. I shouldn't let that be the reason that I'm happy, that people are going to have to eat shit. But, you know, I'm human. Says, still miss Gapin' April, though. What's her sweet ass up to? We don't need to call her Gapin' April. All right? We don't need to. You know all that shit goes back, right? Like, look, wherever she is, I hope she's doing well. I hope she's getting over her addictions and her problems, and I hope she's healthy, and I hope she's moving onward and upward. She was... As the men in her life were incredibly toxic in different ways, and I think it's good that she got away from the men in her life because they were not good for her at all. At all. Let's go to CJ with $2. Says, Bubba the Love Sponge is on Beanie Boy's show right now. I don't know who Beanie Boy is. Who's Beanie Boy? Leia with $2 says, my sticker came. My husband saw the mail and was like, what is steel toe? I then had to explain that I found you through the YouTube lawyer that my husband always thought was an obnoxious prick. Well, your husband's very observant. Pool Scam Sam with $1.99 says, is everyone still meeting at Stoney's in May? Please do. Please do. Pool Scam, I'm really sorry, buddy. I'm just really sorry. That's all I'll say. $15 away from tonight's goal. Thank you very much. Poor guy doesn't even know what's going to hit him. That's what happens when you overinvest your life in me. You know? We're having a great show tonight. We're having a wonderful show. Pool Scam. I can't wait to see what your cope's going to be, buddy. It's going to be really rough. I'm really sorry about that in advance. Oof, the rage. I should send you all helmets because you're going to be smacking yourselves in the head. $2 from CJ says, Tim Pool, the Mo who wears a beanie nonstop. Oh, the beanie. Oh, my God. You know what? Kloppo's right. Kloppo is right. He said beanie, and you know what I thought? You know, fair. This is what I'm going to say about your criticism. Fair. Fine. Leah says, what did I miss? You didn't miss anything. I'm a little distracted. I got some insanely awesome news tonight, and I'm not, I'm going to keep it under my hat, but I just had to tell the audience that I'm really distracted, and it's all amazing things, and I think Puerto Rican prostate puncher has it right when he says, shut up, Aaron, get back to the show. I agree. Bigot on Socialist Media says, will Doge cross over 200 billion tomorrow? Where's it at? By the way, thank you. 300. We crossed the 350 number today. So only after the 1 hour move backwards, only 50 away from where we were before the move. Uh-oh, another win for the toe. $15 away from tonight's goal. The Doge clock is at 189 billion. Hot shit. Will we cross over tomorrow? No, I don't think we're going to cross over tomorrow. Of course not. I don't think we're going to save $11 billion. Although, aren't we, they're shutting down the Department of Education tomorrow, so who knows? Maybe it'll jump up by $250 billion. Turtle with $2 says she's gaping ape. Don't force the rhyme when it's easy. Good guys, I really do mean, thank you for the $2, Turtle. I appreciate it. But I mean, really, does it really hurt you to wish her the best? I mean, she's not hurting anybody anymore. You know, she's not a danger to children or anyone else anymore. It's like she's not a danger. I hope she's not a danger to herself. Like, she got out of the toxicity, and for all accounts, she seems like she's trying to better herself. Like, can't we? Like I said, there was I was talking to somebody this weekend. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, "Yeah, I fucking called it. She was this, she was that," and I was just like, you know, people get punished for their sins. You know, whatever people did wrong, they get punished, and there's been a punishment there, and I think that's, you know, you don't need to. I don't think we need to dance on any graves or anything like that. $2 from CJ says, what percentage chance April does OnlyFans versus a normal job? April has blue-collar skills. She can find herself a job and do okay in that realm. Like I said, doesn't cost you anything to wish people the best, especially when you're disconnected from them. The past is in the past. You don't have to deal with them anymore. They don't have to deal with you anymore. And you just, hey, you know what? Best of luck on you. That's all. So you guys carry that shit around. It's just kind of baggage for you, you know? That's what I always tell the steel toe haters. Like, you're certainly not impacting me. You're just creating baggage and anger and hostility for yourself. And, you know, you're just hurting yourself. And you're making me laugh at you. CJ with $2 says, to be clear, I'm rooting for her to be normal. Attaboy, buddy. Thank you very much. That's great. $10 away from tonight's goal. Thank you guys very much. Oh, my God. Fauci's Pangolin says, is it true the Vikings just traded JJ for a 6th-round pick and gave Rodgers $390 million for 2 years? No. No. Of course not. If you guys are going to make some shit up, you got to at least make it half believable so that I can buy it. All right, guys, here's what I want. You guys have done an amazing job with the goal all fucking week, really. $10 away. Can we do it in small contributions? Can we just do it in ones and twos? That would be, like, don't knock the whole thing out at once. Let's see if we can do the fun ones and twos thing for once. Can we please do the ones and twos and knock out the 10 that way and not with like a 10 or a 15 or anything else? That would be good. That's my wish for, well, there we go. Turtle with $5 says, she is why long ago I couldn't send you the Crowder mug. I still have it if you want it for the studio. What do you mean she's why? I would love a Crowder mug. I would have it at my table with pride. Thank you very much for that. All right, now let's start. So now we're at $6.50 for tonight's goal. Let's see if we can do the last $6.50 in small increments. Turtle sent that before I said let's do it in small $1 and $2 increments. So let's reset the clock now and knock out that last $6.50 with small numbers. This is unfortunate. A 10-hour plane ride from, wait a minute, how the fuck do you get from India to Chicago in 10 hours? That ain't right. Air India flight from Chicago to Delhi was over Greenland. Is Greenland to India 10 hours? Okay, so there's Minnesota to New York. That's 3 hours. So then New York to about here would be another 3, 6, 9. All right. 3, 6, 9. Yeah, I guess Greenland and Delhi could be about a 10-hour flight. All right.
And I just want to say thank you.
God damn it. I guess that would be a 10-hour flight. So over Greenland, this flight from Chicago to Delhi encountered a problem when 11 of the 12 onboard toilets had been clogged. What the hell are they serving on these planes? Is it just everybody's drunk or hungover and it's just booze shits? And they're just clogging up the 11 of 12. You shouldn't have 11 of 12 people taking shits on this plane big enough to clog up a toilet. This is a norovirus issue. Air India Flight 126 from Chicago to Delhi was over Greenland when 11 of the 12 toilets on board became inoperable, allegedly being clogged. The only toilet available for all 300 or so passengers was the one in business class. Oh, no. The higher class people had to let the poors and the beer drunks shit in their bathroom. Oh, boy. So it turns out they had to turn around 5 hours into the trip and head back to Chicago. The Air India, here's a clip from inside the cabin. Oh God, there's only one thing I can think right now, and it's so remarkably politically incorrect that I'm gonna let you guys say it in the chat. But if I'm on that plane, there's only one thing that's bothering me right now. That's a sound. Is that the sound of someone taking a thunder shit in the 12th bathroom? Uh-oh. You better just hope that those 11 to 12 toilets don't overflow. That's going to be a bigger issue. Yeah, that sounds like somebody really, really relieving the pressure, if you will. Yeah, Cockdiff, I was thinking the same thing. Oh, I bet you that, that plane might have stunk just a little bit. Yeah, what was there spicy curry being served on the plane? Why are we 5 hours into a flight and everybody's shitting up all the toilets? I don't understand it. Leia says, gross. Have you seen what cruise ships do? They dump their waste in biodegradable bags into the ocean. So gross. I thought they just flushed and they had a water treatment system on the boat and then it dispelled the wastewater into the ocean. I thought that's what they did. Could be wrong. CJ with $2 says it could have been avoided with a poop knife on board. Fucking poop knife. Jesus, you guys. $5.10 away from tonight's goal. I just want to see I just want to have some fun. I want to see if you guys can do it with 1s and 2s instead of 5s and 10s the rest of the way. 5:10 away from tonight. Thank you guys for another nice and easy night of progress and knocking it out. Of the 4 shows this week, 3 out of the 4 have been pretty easy. And I thank you very much for that. And the morning, look, man, you got to give credit to the morning show, folks. They're $40 or $50 into their goal for tomorrow. So they're trying to take after their little brothers on the evening shows. That's for sure. 350 of you hanging in there. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit follow. Thank you so much. One of the big complaints about law enforcement and catching criminals before it happens is that a lot of these school shooters end up being people that are known to law enforcement before the event. So I thought I would share with you one story we got. We got one where they actually took a threat seriously and they caught the person, which means that the FBI had nothing to do with it this time. A 17-year-old student was arrested for threatening to shoot up a Florida school. And, it looked like it might look like this guy might not have been bullshitting. That looks like a guy who was ready to go. Oh boy. Yeah. And he is a rough looking little fucker. He's like, Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite. Holy shit. Threatened to use his guns during his lunch period and in between classes. Oh, not recess. I mean, he definitely had the equipment for it. Holy fuck, dude. Looks like he raided the Punisher's place. Police said the teen was enrolled in Elevation High School, but the threat was made against nearby Seminole High School. Well, maybe he's just a big supporter of his high school basketball team, and he takes the rivalry a little too seriously. The teen has been arrested and charged with the electronic threat of mass shooting. Well, I will say that I'm just glad we caught one for once, because it really makes you wonder about shit like MK Ultra, and it makes you wonder about political agendas and inside jobs and shit like that. When you have so many red flags about these shooters and they just conveniently slip through the cracks, and it's like every time they slip through the cracks the same exact way. And then when they catch one, you're like, okay, was this just a lone wolf, lone actor guy? And they were like, oh shit, we didn't have this guy on our planned shootings we were going to allow to happen schedule. We got to get him. It's just, I guess, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. It's just nice that they got one for once. Holy shit, the weapons which were seized after the teen's arrest were extremely realistic airsoft replicas. Get the fuck out of here. Did anybody say that in the chat? No. Nobody caught on that those were airsoft. Wow. It's almost like the feds radicalized these mass shooters. How the fuck did he get his hands on a suppressor? Brett Mack says, senior prank, that's all. Yeah, those were all airsoft guns. Holy shit. Take a look at them. We got plenty of gun people who watch this show. Let's see if you can pick it out now that they've said that they're airsoft replicas. Look at that. I guess the grenade should have been a giveaway. I don't think the kid would have a grenade, but the rest of them, I mean, shit, look at that. Those look pretty good. I even know they're airsoft replicas, and I can't tell. Holy shit, they make those way too realistic now. Chernobog says, I thought it was odd he would make threats beforehand instead of just doing it, like he was begging to get caught. Bappa Shab says, good eye, Yankee, and PPP. Who, Puerto Rican prostate puncher? How the fuck did he get his hands on a suppressor? Here in Minnesota, suppressors are legal. So, I mean, it depends. I'm guessing in Florida, you can have suppressors as well. So, I don't know. It kind of depends on which state you're in, I suppose. About $5 left in tonight's goal. And I do want to knock out the last $5 with small donations. $1, $2 at a time. It's no fun to just hit the whole thing all at once. Let's just knock it out a little bit at a time. Refs have a tough time in, dealing with parents and making calls. Like being a referee for kids' sports is a lot more difficult than it seems, because you're dealing with absolute lunatics out there. And mostly we're talking about the coaches and the parents, ironically. But sometimes these kids can get a little disrespectful as well. One German soccer player. I'm sorry. This was a fan. Okay, I fucked this story up already. Jesus Christ. Maybe I don't. You know what? Maybe we don't deserve the 5. Maybe we keep the 5 in our pocket and we just charge it to the morning show's goal and just call this one hit, because I fucked up the whole setup to this story. What a hack. What a hack. So this was a professional game going on in Germany. And instead of the parents interfering with the referee in a kid's game, this time the kid interfered in an adult game. FC Taxi Duisburg and SV Rot-Weiss Mulheim were set to compete in the 8th tier Kreisliga C division. I am not a soccer fan. I have no idea what the fuck I just told you. But while Stefan Collar was performing ID checks on the players before the game, a child was running around playing soccer on the field. And then it happened. The referee said the child came closer and closer to me. Then suddenly, to my complete surprise, he gave me a sharp bite in my left testicle. What? Whose fucking kid needs to be on the leash? Now, the pain was so bad that the referee had to call off the game entirely. The little kid bit the referee in the nutsack so hard that he could not continue. He says, I did not start the game because of the pain I was in and the situation. It was the child of one of the FC Taxi players who was to blame. Maybe the kid had like a recital or something, or he had a game of his own and he really wanted his dad to be at it. And the only way he could ensure that dad would make it to his game would be if he got the game canceled. And, you know, you can't call in a bomb threat. You might get arrested for that. So what's the next best thing? Kick the ref in the nuts. Well, if you're a little kid, you can't really reach. You got little tiny feet, so you can't really get up there and kick the guy in the butt. So I guess you got to use what you have. I mean, Jesus, kid. Next time, just, you know, a punch will be just fine. Biting? Savage behavior. Jesus. Jesus. MSO says, it's always the left one. Isn't that the truth? It's always the left. 50 cents from Fuck You Dude over on PayPal. Thank you very much, Fuck You Dude, with the 50 cents. Guess where that puts us? $4.60 away from tonight's goal. Oh, wait. Hold on a minute. Hold on. We got Nicholas with $4.99 over on YouTube. It's a super tip, but you got to count those, right? You got to count a super tip in the old comments section. So $3.50. Hey, guys, $1.10 away from tonight's goal. Can you guys do me a huge favor? We have 45 minutes left. Can you please let us miss by $1.10? Could you please do that? I would really appreciate it if you would leave us $1.10 short tonight. Diamond hands like a motherfucker. That's all I'm asking. 45 minutes, $1.10. Let's keep it right there. That would be absolutely perfect. All right, I'm thinking about the news I got today. I'm getting fucking distracted again. Let's open up a new set of stories here. Oh, we got some Ilhan Omar news tonight. That'll be fun. Oh, and we get to go over a list of the happiest cities in America. Tomorrow morning, we're going to talk about the Ukrainian ceasefire. That's huge. I don't know, man. So apparently Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, the administration, they got Ukraine to agree to a temporary ceasefire while they negotiate a peace deal. I mean, is it even a question if Trump can help negotiate a peace deal for the to an end to the Russia-Ukraine war? That's a Nobel Peace Prize, right? You have to. You can't not give the guy a no. I don't care how much you hate him. I don't care how much the international community might not like it. But if he ends that fucking war, man, and you don't give him the Nobel Peace Prize. You know what they do? You know what the international world would do just to stick it to Trump because they don't like it? You know who they'd give the fucking Peace Prize to? I'll let the Rumble chat guess it. You know who they'd give it to if the United States negotiated a peace between Russia and Ukraine? Just to stick it to us, just to stick it to Trump, just to stick it to Putin and everybody else. They would give that fucking Nobel Peace Prize to Zelensky. Even though, out of all of them, you could argue that Zelensky wants peace the least. This guy loves hitting all these countries up for money. More than I do. I mean, this guy's goal is way bigger than my goal. Ah, fuck. Carlos with $2 says, eat it. Well, there you go. Guys, we hit the goal.
But I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Thank you, guys. One of these days, one of these games is going to work out. You guys are going to diamond head it. There's a lot of people who were in the chat just now going like, come on, guys. You can do it. Sit tight. Don't throw anything in. We got this. And it only takes one. It takes Carlos. Fucking Carlos. That's who. Oh, boy. Over 300 of you still checking out the show. Hit like, hit subscribe, especially on Rumble. They throw you in the algorithm when you put a lot of likes on the board. Put some thumbs up over on YouTube as well. Thank you guys very much for a wonderful show. Jesus Christ. I mean, quit while you're ahead is very good advice in any walk of life. But quit while you're behind is sometimes just as important. An Aurora, Colorado man was arrested last week for a half dozen armed robberies of gas station convenience stores. Of the 6 robberies, 5 of them had occurred at the same fucking place. 20-year-old Ross Wiesner was taken into custody March 4th, 9 days after the most recent robbery. Wiesner held up the Shell gas station 5 times. I'm not saying that I'm ever rooting for the guy who robs the gas station to get away scot-free, but Jesus Christ, kid, give yourself a fighting chance for fuck's sake. 5 times in the same place. And I guarantee that this dipshit lived close to the convenience store too. So he's never heard quit while you're ahead, and he's never heard don't shit where you eat. I guarantee he was like, man, I don't want to go out looking for a place to rob when the convenience store right down the road from me is so convenient. Why don't we just rob that one? You know what? Go ahead. You know, why don't I go back tomorrow? That was a good score. Yeah, you know what? Go back tomorrow. That sounds like a wunderbar idea. According to a search of online criminal records, Wiesner was arrested by Denver police in May of 2023 on an aggravated robbery charge. He quickly bonded out, but underwent 2 mental health evaluations by the judge. That charge was dropped, and the case was closed in September of 2024. We take crime very seriously here in the United States. Hey, we've got him on an aggravated robbery charge. Oh, yeah? Why are you dropping it? Well, we gave him a mental health evaluation. Turns out he's retarded. Not retarded enough to not rob a store. I mean, I'll give him this. Robbing the same store 5 times is pretty retarded. So maybe they do have an argument here. Wiesner's first robbery in Aurora happened in July of 2024. 2 months before the Denver case was dropped. So he gets arrested in May of 2023 for the Denver job, has charges pending on that one, and then 2 months before that case is dropped, he goes to Aurora and starts robbing places. Boy, this guy's a winner. And then 2 months later, because Denver takes so much pride in their criminal justice system, they drop the charges against him. While arrested on 2 felonies by Aurora PD, Wiesner will learn the number of charges being pursued against him by 18th Judicial District prosecutors on Tuesday. Aurora PD credited its gang robbery investigative team, or GRIT. GRIT, see? Because if we give things really funny nicknames, we don't have to actually accomplish anything. Come on, guys. We've got GRIT. Fucking hell. Yeah, Rexstart parody account with a great point. Did he get loyalty rewards? He is the kind of motherfucker who would swipe his rewards card. Puerto Rican prostate puncher says, just because you can steal from the gas station more than once on GTA, this is too much. Maybe this is that bad impact that video games has on real life that we've been hearing so much about. It's shit like this. Again, not that I'm rooting for the guy who's robbing the gas station, but Jesus, I mean, at least make it tough on the authorities. I mean, after all, God, they're using tax dollars. I mean, make it worth their while, you know? Oh, by the way, that we got some news on that pro-Palestinian protesters horseshit that Trump wants to start throwing people in jail and deporting people for. President Donald Trump boasted Monday about the arrest of a pro-Palestinian protester, Mahmoud Khalil, whom he described as a radical foreign pro-Hamas student on the campus of Columbia Security. Khalil is a Palestinian and now a former grad student at Columbia who was taken into custody Saturday night after ICE agents reportedly entered his university-owned apartment. Radical foreign pro-Hamas student on the campus of Columbia University. So that's all you have to do to get deported and get your student visa taken away is you just have to say, I'm pro-Hamas? See, to me, that's covered by free speech too. We haven't declared war on Hamas. I hate Hamas. I think Hamas is terrible. I think they're an awful group. I also think they're controlled opposition created by the CIA and Mossad, but that's a different conversation for another day. But all you have to do is say, I'm pro-Hamas and go to a protest and we can deport you. I don't see, maybe I'm naive and that's fine, but I don't want to live in that country. Excuse me. I actually believe in America and what America is. I believe in the rules. Not like just the idea, but the ideals behind the idea of America. I think one of our biggest strengths is freedom of speech. It shows that we're not fucking pussies. So if some guy wants to wave a Palestinian flag and go, I'm rooting for Hamas, you have that freedom in this country. Again, it's not like you're now, if he's giving them money, if he's harboring terrorists and criminals and shit like that, okay, then we can talk about arresting and deporting the guy. But declaring, I mean, Israel is a foreign power. If you go to a protest and you say, I'm pro-Israel bombing the West Bank and Gaza, can we deport you for that? You're advocating killing. No, we can't because that's free speech, and it should be. Khalil is a Palestinian, now a former grad student. His lawyer, Amy Greer, told the Associated Press she spoke by phone to one of the agents during the arrest. The agent informed her that they were acting on State Department orders to cancel his student visa. When she told them he was a permanent resident of the U.S., the agent said they were revoking his green card instead. Department of Homeland Security spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin confirmed Khalil's arrest in a statement to the AP, saying it was orchestrated in support of President Trump's executive orders prohibiting anti-Semitism. Now, wait a minute. Do we have an executive order prohibiting anti-Asian speech? Anti-black speech? Anti-Latino speech? We don't have any executive orders for that. This is not fair. You have a First Amendment right to dislike or hate whoever you want. You don't have a right to, your freedom to swing your fist ends at the point of their nose. I do not like this. I don't like, two things can be true at the same time. We can be intelligent about this. I don't like Hamas. I don't like that we're deporting people simply for speaking out and having an opinion. I don't like that. This is a bad road to go down. Bigot on socialist media says, but don't arrest and deport the terrorist sleeper cells that are waiting in every major city. Yeah, this is covered by free speech, dude. This is covered. Now, again, if he's sending money to Hamas and, buying them bombs and shit, okay, let's talk about it. That guy's aiding and abetting terrorism. But going to a protest at your college and then signing executive orders that say we're prohibiting you can't prohibit anti-Semitism under the First Amendment. People are allowed to hate white people, black people, Jewish people, Asian people, Mexicans. Is it good? No. Hate is baggage. That's terrible. Hate people for who they are as individuals, not for who they are as a group. So look, man, this isn't just a theory anymore. This is a real thing that's happening. Stephen 52MS says, according to the U.S., isn't Hamas a terrorist group, Aaron? Yeah, that's why if you send them money or you send them weaponry or anything else, then yes, you've broken the law and now we can talk about this. But simply going to a protest and saying, I like these guys more than I like the Israelis, I don't want that. I don't want to live in a country where that's actionable. I really don't. And again, this is coming from Republicans who have been lecturing us on freedom of speech at college campuses. And I was riding with them on that issue. I thought they were absolutely right on that issue. I guess I'm a radical. I guess I'm radically free speech because I'm more free speech than these Republicans are. Leah says, what the fuck is wrong with everyone supporting this? I don't know. I don't know. MSO says, I thought I was tripping. Granny is live in blackface. Jesus Christ. Puerto Rican prostate puncher says someone should tell Aaron how DeSantis went to Israel to sign an anti-Semitic bill. Oh, I believe it. 100% I believe it. 191 Redbird with $2 says he published documents calling for the attack of America. I don't see that here. And I mean, I'm not seeing where he said attack the United States of America. Trump said, we know there are more students at Columbia and other universities across the country who have engaged in pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic, anti-American activity. You're allowed to be anti-American in America through your speech. You're allowed to hate this country when you live in this country. Is it fucked up? Is it bizarre? Is it weird? Yup. Is it one of our most valued freedoms? Yes. I want people to be able to say, I hate America. I hate Israel. I hate this. I hate that. I hate Palestine. I hate that. I want people to be free to say that shit. Many are not students. They are paid agitators. Well, I mean, if you can get that bag for protesting too, I mean, you must be a hell of a protester. You're going pro. We will find, apprehend, and deport these terrorist sympathizers from our country, never to return again. If you support terrorism, what does that mean? This is that the government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything away. This idea that the Bush administration opened it up to, support terrorism. Well, what does that mean? Has Hamas ever attacked the United States? Have we declared war on Hamas? Supporting terrorism just sounds like something they can accuse you of whenever they want to get you. You support terrorism. Some people think Israel's terrorism. I mean, I would say that Hamas and Israel have both done things that you could consider terroristic behavior. But I think you should be allowed to support both of them in a protest or in speech. If you support terrorism, including the slaughtering of innocent men, women, and children, your presence is contrary to our national and foreign policy interests, and you are not welcome here. See, this to me, by the way, these are Trump's own words that he posted on social media. I ain't digging this. I don't like this shit. We expect every one of America's colleges and universities to comply. Thank you. This is not Trump's best look. I don't like this. MSO says he must have heard you. Now he's removing it. LOL. That is weird. A lot of these people listen to me and they say they don't like me, but they kind of treat me like a big brother sort of. And it's weird. Please don't. Like I told Will Heron, I'm like, dude, you should probably back it the fuck off. You're going to get too involved with this shit and you're going to fuck up your cushy TV gig. And now he's been just a clip of me here and a clip of me there and very silent on Twitter and just kind of walking on eggshells, which is good. That's what he should have been doing this whole time. Quit getting fucked up on the air and being a retard because you're going to fuck up your gig. Like, radio didn't like when people did that shit. And TV takes that shit way more seriously than radio does. So I'm glad he heeded my advice, but still, he shouldn't have gotten to that point. Play it smarter. Jesus. Redbird with $1. Let's see what this link is. Let's go to CJ with $5. Says, you're wrong. Look into the green card legalese. Yes, verbal/material support of groups designated as terrorists terminates the card. Well, I mean, if that's the case, then they can get rid of the green card. Then let me just say this. I'm against it. I'm against that part of the green card. I think people should have the right to verbally express support for whatever they want. Jfish says it's called a checking the temp for the Jays. Okay, thanks, Donnie. Bigot on socialist media says, if you don't think that changes like this will lead to even more oppression, you should pay more attention. Right. They pick easy targets at first that everybody will agree with. And then they just kind of, they tighten that noose over time. I don't know if I like it. Oh, also tomorrow we've got a story about, I don't know what the deal is with Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, but they are not getting along. They are not getting along. Apparently, and thank you, CJ, for the $5. That'll go towards tomorrow. You too, Redbird. Thank you, guys. You guys are $5 into tomorrow evening already. Kash Patel apparently wants to bypass Pam Bondi in the Justice Department and wants a line straight to the White House. So I know we've seen that there have been problems with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and the Justice Department and the FBI on the Epstein files. I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but Kash Patel wants to bypass Pam Bondi. She's given me a little bit, like, I'm a little suspicious of her because she came out guns blazing and she's like, I've got all the Epstein files. I'm going to release them. And then she goes, well, it turns out I don't have all the Epstein files. The Southern District of New York has all the Epstein files, but don't worry, they got them to us and we've got them and we're going through them. They went, okay, so you're going to release them? And we're like, yeah, but we're going to have to redact some of it to protect some people. It's like, oh, fuck, here we go. And then last weekend rolls through, and she didn't release a fucking thing. So I don't know. I don't color me not a believer on this Pam Bondi. You know? 191 Redbird with $1 says, citizens can be vocally anti-American, but you don't get to be a guest and support terrorists. All right. All right. I mean, I definitely tap out on that issue. I'm agreeing with you. That is the way it is. That is the way it's written. So you have to obey that. And if you don't, they take action. I don't like the way Trump is like really super gung-ho and happy about kicking people out for thought crimes. That's not supposed to be what that whole movement is about. Leah says, because Bondi is a moron and Kash isn't. Yeah, who does the MAGA crowd like more? Do they like Kash more or do they like Pam Bondi? I feel like they're more Kash Patel people than they are Pam Bondi people. By the way, guys, thank you very much for your support tonight. We hit today's goal. We're into tomorrow night's goal, and we are now in overtime. Thank you. And still, we're usually not 300 strong. It's starting to taper off by overtime. We got up into the let me take a look. 367 was our we're almost back to 400 where we were at before the time change. You guys are wonderful. Thank you very much. Hit like, hit subscribe. Appreciate it. Deutsch Chad says Kash 10,000%. Okay. Fauci says I like Kash, but bonds will do. Get it? Bonds, Bondi. It's a thing, What do we got next? We got the oh yeah, this was fucking wild. So there were tornadoes in Florida over the weekend. Does Florida typically get tornadoes? I thought like the Midwest was the only place that got them. Is that one of those things they can look at and go, oh, this is a climate change thing. Shit's flipping around. An EF2 tornado impacted portions of Florida on March 10th. Since 1996, South Florida has averaged 11 tornadoes per year. Oh, okay. So they're pretty frequent, actually. Tornadoes in Florida. Okay. Well, then never mind. Good. I don't want them to be able to be like, well, you see, climate change is causing there to be more tornadoes, and now they're in Florida. Yeah, fuck's sake. Let's go ahead and check this out. This was a tornado actually hitting Florida outside the building where the news was broadcasting the storm updates from, and they had to get the fuck out of Dodge. Let's go ahead and play this one after. I'm sure there'll be a quick spot here. Yeah, quick little 5-second spot, and then we'll get to it.
Southwest of I-4, 2 miles southwest of I-4. And I'm continuing to look at those cameras there. That I-4 cam, yeah, let's turn it west. That's good. Turn it west so you can see it's going through the tower.
What he's trying to
on the bottom right-hand part of your screen. Keep going.
Guys, what he's trying to say is let's point this thing west into the chest of the still beating heart of the night. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Keep going left. Keep going left. And keep going. And if we can bring that full, okay, and stop it right there. Stop, and pull it out. Do you see that area where the rain, see that? That could be it, guys. Bring that camera up full. Okay, this is a live view from our TV station of what may be, at the very least, it's torrential rain crossing I-4 right now. We could be looking at a tornado on camera. Look at those trees blowing around. Okay.
This is a guy starting to notice. He's like, fuck, is that coming this way? Like, are we? I think if you're the news and you're reporting the tornado, you should have to stay there and report and give a play-by-play and, like, be the last man. Like how the captain goes down with the ship. You should have to do that if you're reporting on a tornado on the news.
Bring the camera up, guys, if you can. Zoom out. Can you zoom out? This is a look at the live camera of a tornado, which could be passing by our station right now. Okay, there's debris. We've got debris on. Okay, take shelter. Everybody in the Fox 35 building, get to your safe space.
Oh, wow. So this guy is, you know what? Bravo to this guy. What a badass. So he's telling everybody else, yeah, get the fuck into the basement. Or do they have basements in Florida? I don't know. Everybody get into an interior room with no windows. Close the doors. Protect yourself. We got flying debris and shit. And he's in there and he's reporting the thing. And you know what? Good for him. Good for him.
Under your desk, if you're not in a designated area, we're catching debris right now on the roof. Debris is on the roof right now.
Yeah, that camera is in. Look at that. That camera's inside the tornado. This is shit flying around inside of it.
We're hearing, you can see the debris flying there on the camera. This is a tornado.
Holy
Seek shelter
shit.
Immediately. Get under your desks, guys. Anchors under the desks. Everybody get on the desks.
Wow, massive respect to this dude for reporting the tornado and then making sure everyone else is getting under the desk into a safe place. That's baller. I wouldn't even, I would have teased him on the show and called him a bitch if he would have ran off and hid, but good for him staying and reporting. And also, let's point out, I know I was saying, fuck you, be a captain, stay, go down with the ship. There's absolutely no reason for him to be doing this. He should absolutely, nobody should give him any shit for running off and screeching and hiding under a desk. Here in Minnesota, we've got basements. Fuck that. In this house, we've got a pretty spacious a large crawl space with a lot of headroom. A tornado comes here, we're more than protected. But in Florida, they usually don't have isn't it too humid, too wet for basements in Florida? It might be fucked.
Okay, that was it. We're still in the debris zone. Everybody get in. Everybody get in the studio. Come on in, guys. Okay, we got power flickers.
He's trying to be the shepherd, Ringo. He's trying to be the shepherd.
Out. That's a tornado. This is a confirmed tornado. National Weather Service, if you're listening, this is a confirmed tornado. Right over the Lake Mary studios. This is heading into Lake Mary and Sanford right now. Get below the ground level. Sorry, get to the ground level, an interior room away from the windows. This is a very serious situation. This is a real live tornado. It just hit our station.
If you're a YouTuber and you want to spend hours managing your library,
what the
YouTube,
fuck?
Come check out how you
Shut
can
your
get
mouth.
cards and descriptions of
Why are there two links to this? Good for him, man. Good for that guy. Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. I got a little distracted towards the end of that. I'm getting inundated with up to the second good news tonight, and we got 15 minutes left in the show. I'm trying to focus. I really am. And I'm sorry that I can't say more, but this is just, it's not news I expected today. It's fucking phenomenal. I'm so happy, but I keep getting more info. I'm just really thrilled about it, guy. I can't wait to tell you. Brett Mack says they were just vaping in front of the camera. Fake news. Is that what it was? Well, that's a horrible hoax to play on people. CNN anchor drills down when Ilhan Omar calls Trump fans racist and xenophobic. You know, Ilhan Omar is one of the more controversial Minnesota figures. One of the more controversial Minnesota. I'm really trying hard. I know this. I apologize. This is really unprofessional, but it's been a really fucking emotional day, guys. It's it's a day I've been waiting for a while. It's a very happy day. I'm excited. And I'm hoping in the next week I can clue you in, but I'm trying to just breathe and not say too much, but also focus on the show at hand. Ilhan Omar on national TV making an asshole of herself. Let's just watch this and react because, Jesus fucking Christ.
Hey, two buddies, it is game time. Out of
Shut up. Give me the story I want.
40% more clicks than the.
I want to follow up with something else because we recently had one of your Republican colleagues, Brandon
Oh my God.
Gill, on the show.
What's Erica Badu doing on CNN? That's Wolf Blitzer. No, it's Ilhan Omar. Sorry.
He said that America would be better off if you were arrested and deported. He also said,
I mean, that would be funny if Wolf Blitzer goes, what the fuck did I do? And then, no, I'm sorry, Wolf, not you. He was talking about Ilhan Omar. Oh, that makes sense because she's black. What? No, Wolf, Jesus. Not because she's black. Oh, because she's a Muzzy. Wolf, God. But, I don't know. I mean, Ilhan Omar has said openly that she is for Somalia first. You know, she's come out and she's been like, I am working for the rights of Somalia and the betterment of Somalia through the American government. And it's like, wow, way to fucking break your vows you took to the country. Not that I should really be shitting on anyone for breaking their vows, I guess.
that there was audio of you advising what he said or illegal immigrants here from Somalia on how to evade ICE detection. I want you to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, these are people who have really...
Knock, knock. Who's there? You married your brother.
Stopped caring about our institutions, really stopped caring about our Constitution. We know that folks who are here, whether they are documented or undocumented, we know whether you are a permanent resident or you are a citizen, you have constitutional rights. And it is really important for people to know those rights. I know that it is red meat for his base that are xenophobic and racist
well, you know, look. You kind of got to take the good with the bad. And if you want to shit on Ilhan Omar for the things she's said and been like, that doesn't sound very American, she kind of gets to fire back with like, because I'm Muslim and because I'm a minority. You know, she does have that card in her hand. She can play it. You just got to be smart enough to be like, no. This ain't got nothing to do with race. This doesn't have anything to do with religion. You actively told people at public rallies numerous times that you're fighting on behalf of Somalia using the American government to do so. That's kind of a shady, shitty thing to say.
Say to them that I am going to find a way to arrest and deport a member of Congress.
That's the other thing. That is kind of overplaying your hand, too, because like they tried to do the same thing to AOC. Like, you're allowed to tell people, don't talk to the cops, don't talk to ICE. You're allowed to do that. That's not a crime. I don't want that to be a crime. That would be a kind of a scary world to live in. You should be allowed to tell your constituents, hey, fucking ICE knocks at your door, don't answer it. Don't give them permission to come in. Like, it's allowed.
Who he thinks is doing something wrong when I am doing the right thing in trying to make sure everybody that is within my constituency has the resources and the information that they need.
For the record, I think it's kind of scummy to cover for people who are here illegally because you're protecting people who are breaking the law. But the way you get around that is she's not saying if you're illegal, don't talk to ICE. She's just saying in general, hey, don't talk to ICE, don't answer the door. If she's giving that advice to everyone, then she's not aiding and abetting criminals, technically.
And she was democratically elected by members, by the people in her district.
Yes, of course.
Very good, old man Wolf. You can tell they just treat him like a doddering old fuck. And she was elected by the voters in her district. Yes, Wolf, that's how Congress people come to be. Very good. How much money is old man Blitzer taking up there?
But just to follow up very quickly, just be clear, you're not.
Holy shit, they really know. I wasn't kidding, I guess. They really no-sold Blitzer. Go back to that.
And she was democratically elected by members, by the people in her district.
Yes, of course. But just to follow up very quickly.
She literally yes-grandpa'd him and then moved right on. She was elected by people in her district. Yes, of course. Anyway, as we were saying.
Just be clear, you're not calling all of his base xenophobic and racist, right?
Well, I mean, he is feeding to something. He has a...
Hey, Pamela Brown. Is it Pamela Brown? That's a yes. I love that when like the media person's trying to help out the radical politician and they're like, you don't mean that all of his base is radical and racist and xenophobic. She's like, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that they're racist and xenophobic. Oh, okay.
Petition out, he's getting donations. That's what this is all about. He knows he can't deport me. There is no grounds for my arrest.
That'd be funny if she went, it's not like fucking your brother is a crime, is it? Is it? No, I'm asking, is it?
So this information is...
Now remember, fucking your brother is called incest. Very good, Wolf. Look, can we get this interview back on track?
Only being put out there by him for a reason, and that reason is because he has a base that feeds off of that.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, thanks so much for coming in.
No, I appreciate you all for having me.
Thank you very much.
Would you like a Werther's? Would you like a hard candy, sweetheart, or is that Boko Haram where you come from? Crowder Wears Panties says, I've never heard her talk before. Disgusting. Well, here's the weird thing. Like, the people she's criticizing, they're both the like opposite sides of the same coin. That's the crazy part. Is all the firebrands were like, we should deport Ilhan Omar for saying what she says. Like, they try to act like they're all so different from each other, but then Ilhan Omar comes out and she goes, well, they're all a bunch of racists and bigots, and there's no exception, and racists and bigots are barely human. And it's like, you guys both do the same thing. You try to delegitimize the person and then dehumanize their base. So you guys aren't that different, really. MSO says Wolf Blitzer was born in Augsburg, Bavaria, Germany, to Polish Jewish refugee. God damn it, MSO, not you too. You were just the I don't want you to hit the goal guy. Now you're turning into little Vadam. And Vadam, don't do the Jewish thing. Go talk football and stuff. That was great tonight. Thank you so much. Yankee says, for some reason, I really want a Chiquita banana right now. Yeah, subliminal advertising. Silly Aaron, that's oh Jesus, Sam Show. I thought your thing was Jews. I didn't think you had time for anything else. Hey, you know, before we go, we should see if the Vikings have added anybody in free agency again. Huh? Oh, wow. Here, I've got some breaking news for you. You know how we said that USAID was done? Apparently, they don't want the American government doing an autopsy on USAID. Take a look at this memo that came out tonight. This is a letter from the acting executive secretary of USAID to the workers of USAID. Good afternoon. Thank you for your assistance in clearing our classified safes and personnel documents from the RRB. The event will take place all day tomorrow, that was today, at 9:30 a.m. Please meet at the RRB 14th Street lobby at 9:30 a.m. However, if you cannot be there at that exact time, your badge will be programmed for access to your work area. Shred as many documents first and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break. If you need to use the burn bags, do not overfill and ensure the burn bag can be closed with staples at the top. The only labeling required on the burn bags are the words secret and USAID in dark Sharpie if possible. If you need additional burn bags or Sharpie markers, please let me or the SEC InfoSec team know. I didn't know you could just do that. I didn't know you could just send a memo out to everyone going, hey, guys, shred and burn all of our top secret documents. What the fuck? Bigot on socialist media says bury the evidence and cry in the media about how mean it is to shut it down. I mean, in a way, I'm kind of impressed that they're so brazen about it, but holy shit at the same time. Oh boy, yeah, I saw this today too. AOC hit with ethics complaint over $4,550 payments for dance training. So wait, she spent over $4,500 on dance training? This is what these fucking people, and by that I mean Congress people, this is what they always do. They take their campaign funds and they spend it on bullshit that their friends do. They hire their friends as consultants. They make these people rich as consultants. Well, remember Patrice Cullors from Black Lives Matter. There was that guy that provided her security to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and then gave her nonprofit $1.8 million, and then that nonprofit bought a fucking mansion. I mean, that's what they do. It's all just a money washing scheme to make their pals rich. Wow, look at Steve Ducey asking tough questions today. This is interesting. Somebody mentioned this in the chat this morning when we talked about how the Dow had been taking a kick in the dick lately. They said, think of all the people who shorted the Dow and how much money they're making. I mean, basically making a bet that the Dow would tank and then cashing in on that bet. I mean, is there anything more useless to the economy than speculators, by the way? People who just basically make bets on the economy, just turning Wall Street into a casino. I never understood how that was fucking legal. How you could just go, hey, here's a bunch of money that this thing's going to go down to this level. And then if that hits, you pay me a bunch of money. And if it doesn't hit, you keep my money. I mean, that's gambling at that point. That's just betting. That's like you have a bookie on Wall Street. It doesn't produce anything for the economy. It doesn't, create jobs, create investment, anything. It's just rampant speculation. And it's just for the sake of betting and getting rich while doing nothing. I really don't like that. Steve Ducey asked a really good question of Levitt today when he said, are you sure that nobody in the White House shorted the Dow? I mean, that is something that should be looked at. We should be able to monitor the trades. That should be one of the things that should be one of the trade-offs if you work in the White House or you work with anything that gets, secret information first. We should be able to monitor your trades and see if you've been profiteering on the economy, on what's going on. We'll play this clip in a second. First, CJ says, I want mass deportation via the Trebuchet Express. Some would call that extreme. Thank you guys for hitting the goal tonight. I appreciate all your support. Thanks for the likes and the subscribes as well. Hit that thumbs up on your way out the door tonight. This is Peter Ducey asking about, I think this is asking a really important question.
Dow dropping and dropping and dropping is a period of transition. You're sure nobody here at the White House shorted the Dow?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think that's a laughing question. I think that's a fair question. Are you sure nobody at the White House shorted the Dow? I mean, it wouldn't even be in the top 500 of the most crooked shit that's ever happened in the White House.
But is there any concern here that it's going to be harder to ask certain federal workers to retire if they look at their retirement accounts and they're getting robbed every day?
Well, I'm glad you brought up workers because that's exactly who President Trump is looking out for with his America
I'm sorry this
First
is quiet,
trade
by the way.
policy and his America First economic agenda. And if you look at, there's great indication to be optimistic about where the economy stands. And the American people, investors, CEOs, small business owners, but most importantly, workers, should bet on President Trump because his tariff policies, what he envisions is reciprocity, fair trade practices where American workers are put first and are no longer ripped off by foreign countries all over this world.
Well, in for a penny, in for a pound. I mean, we're in for the tariffs now. We got to see the fucking thing through. I don't like it, but we got to see it through. You know what? Good for Steve Ducey because That's kind of him just showing like, look, I busted the last lady's balls. I'm going to bust your balls too. It's a good question. Remember when Elon was manipulating Dogecoin, says Yankee? I think it capped out over 70 cents at the time. Yeah, we were live on the air one day. And I was telling Corey, like, I'm going to throw $1,000 at Dogecoin. And it was under a penny. It was at about a penny. And Corey's like, fucking do it. Throw $1,000 at Doge right now. And then like the next day, Doge went up to 70 cents. Because I said, Corey, if I go 1,000 now, I'm going to cash out at, I think I said 50. If it gets to 50 cents, it was under a penny. And I said, if it gets to 50 cents, I'm out. He says, okay, do it. Throw 1,000 in. So I didn't throw the 1,000 in. I pussied out. And the damn thing got to 70. I wouldn't have made the $70,000. I would have definitely tapped out. I would have been a bitch. I probably would have tapped out at 25, 30. I would have been like, this is crazy. I'm taking my money and going home. But I didn't. I pussied out. I bitched out. And I didn't do it. And them's the breaks. Guys, thank you very much. Happiest city in America. Let's do this real quick. California cities rank highest for happiness. All right, this list is horseshit. Number 1 is Fremont, California, San Jose, Irvine, and then Sioux Falls, South Dakota. All right, this is complete horseshit. Are we anywhere in there? Is Minnesota? Did we make it? Not in the top 30. I don't trust it. Guys, have a great rest of your night. Thank you very much for distracting me as much as you could from the amazing news that I've gotten today. I'm getting updates as we speak. I don't expect anything to be done tomorrow, but if something does get done tomorrow, I'm either going to have to take the night off or I'll be able to tell you what's going on. But we're on the 1 yard line right now. And if we inch closer to the goal line tomorrow night, I don't know. I'll keep you updated. As of right now, 6 p.m. Central Time, last evening show of the week. Thank you for being here. We'll be here 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thanks a million.